Hi guys, I'm Morgue-N, and welcome to our very first Great Horror Show Debates. Over in this corner we have our very own Cecil Laird, and in this corner we have our very handsome Jaime and Fuego.
I'm handsome too.
Alright guys, ready to get this party started? Question number 1. Best killed off character. Jaime, go.
So basically this was a tough one for me. Mr. Bill Paxton playing Hudson in the second Aliens film was almost there, but in all honesty it had to be Jamie Kennedy as Randy from Scream because, I mean, he was so important to just kind of breaking the third wall, talking about horror as a genre, poking fun at it a little bit, but yet still sending it up, and I think that he just did a tremendous job. He was kind of like the moral compass at times as well, and kind of keeping things within the realm of reality. So, that's, I don't need any more time.
Alright then. Cecil, you're up. And go.
I'm going to go with Dr. Malcolm Crowe, played by Bruce Willis from The Sixth Sense. I chose him because he gets killed off in the very first frame of the movie, and yet somehow it's a surprise to everyone that he is dead at the end of the movie. I appreciated the character because Bruce Willis lent weight and gravitas to the character. You saw his issues with his wife, you saw him having to deal with a kid that sees dead people, and lo and behold, he is the dead person. So how could he not be the best killed off character when the entire movie...
That's your time. 15 seconds for rebuttal. Go.
Alright, Bruce Willis definitely did a hell of a job, you know, as somebody who was killed off at the beginning of the frame, but I must say, Randy was brought back in the third Scream even after he was killed. That's how important he was. People liked him so much, and he was so important that he even had to be there after being killed. So, just my thoughts.
Your thoughts, Cecil?
Okay, well, let's go with that. Randy was brought back even after he was killed. That's how much weight the death actually carried. That's pretty much all I have to say, but I will say that Bruce Willis is way better than Jamie Kennedy.
Agreed.
Alright then. Jaime made a very good argument. However, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to give this one to Cecil because if he comes back, he didn't really get killed. So, Cecil, point for you.
It was a video, damn it.
Okay, question 2. Best film not to get a sequel. Cecil, go.
I'm going to go with The Frighteners. The Frighteners was an excellent premise for a movie, and it was an excellent premise for a series. It's a guy that goes and pretends to be a ghost hunter, and the people that are actually haunting are his ghost buddies. He gets drawn into a bigger scenario where there's an actual murder going around, an actual murderer going around in spirit form that only he can see. How cool is that a setup for future movies? Even after he solves the case, he's still around. Not only could you bring back ghosts from the first one, you could also bring in whole new ghosts that open up a whole wide variety of stories for Frank Bannister to go on.
Alright, that's time. Fuego, go.
Alright, first off I have to tip my proverbial hat to the Peter Jackson selection. Very impressive, tremendous film. However, I personally think that the 80s remake of The Blob that Mr. Chuck Russell did was a tremendous film that left the door just wide open. I mean, you've got the erratic creature at the end, he's got the small little spore of the, you know, crazy space who's there, left it wide open. I think possibly it was because, you know, the film didn't perform so well in theaters, but, you know, the original Blob with, you know, Mr. Race Car Driver, whose name eludes me at the moment, yeah, they made the sequel and...
Alright, 15-second rebuttal, go.
The Blob? Really? I mean, it was a remake to begin with, but, I mean, it's a gelatinous blob. There's nowhere to go with that. Frighteners, there's areas, there's whole new avenues, whole new worlds you can open up with Frank Bannister and his ghost sidekicks going to solve crimes.
Okay. Fuego, go.
Alright, if they had somehow gotten Frank Darabont, who went on to do The Walking Dead afterwards, and Chuck Russell, who did the third Nightmare on Elm Street film together, you know, The Blob as a sequel could have been tremendous. Some of the best practical effects we've ever seen, as great as they were in The Frighteners. I mean, they were groundbreaking. That creative team again could have been tremendous.
Again, interesting arguments, you guys. I think that I would have to go with The Blob on this one, though, so point for Jaime. Question 3. Best infection movie. Jaime, go.
I honestly have to give it to my boy Stephen King. There was an adaptation of The Stand that was done in the early 90s. Mick Garris, tremendous film. Adaptation of a book that was already about 1,000 pages anyway, so had to be epic. 99% of the Earth is destroyed. Not zombie related, which is what you see most often in these, you know, infection type films, but yeah, it captured the tone, the desperation. You've got all this additional stuff of good versus evil happening behind the scenes, and so yeah, that's what I you know, give my stamp of approval towards The Stand, Stevie K.
Very good choice. Cecil.
I'm going to go with Rec. It's a Spanish horror film that basically set off an entire sort of group of movies here. It's a not zombie, sort of zombie-esque film. It's infection spreading. One of the cool things that I loved about it is that it's not actually a zombie infection. It ends up being possession that's being spread like a virus. That was a really cool thing. It was a great example of a found footage movie of which we've seen terrible and we've seen some good ones. It's definitely one of the better ones. The effects and the gore were awesome.
All right. I like that you guys both picked non-zombie movies. That's pretty awesome. 15 seconds, go.
All right, don't sing it, bring it. Basically, I think there's a big difference between infection and possession, personally. You know, and plus The Stand is a staggering 6 hours, for God's sake. I mean, you know, granted there's some fluff in there, but as a whole, as a piece of, you know, dramatic horror, it's fantastic. So.
All right, Cecil.
Yeah, check out The Stand if you want to lose about 1/18 of your entire lifespan. It's way too slow, and yeah, it's possession, but it's infecting other people. When they bite you, they infect you with the possession. That's an infection movie. Sorry, and it's something that's a reasonable length.
Grasping for straws here.
Man, you guys are doing a great job with your arguments, but this is another one that I think I'm gonna have to give it on the technicality. Sorry, The Stand is gonna have to win. Technicality on the possession versus actual infection.
TKO.
Bullshit! Sorry.
It is what it is. Alright, question number 4. Best mass death scene. Cecil, take it.
Cabin in the Woods, Assault on the Facility. The facility has basically every creature from every horror story ever locked, and they all get freed all at the same time and let loose upon the facility. You've got werewolves, you've got a giant unicorn, you've got a Cenobite, you've got dolls, mutants, clowns, mummies, scarecrows, everything a horror fan could possibly ask for, mixed in with gallons of blood. And not only that, but one of the main bad guys gets got by something that he's always wanted to see, a merman, and it actually comes and it finishes him off.
Live this dream.
Alright, that's gonna be a hard one to follow. Let's hear it.
It's a tough one because I almost chose that same scene myself, but you know what, when it came down to it, I honestly had to go with Mr. James Wong's original Final Destination, because seriously, Final Destination took mass death scenes to a whole new level. I mean, in the first film you obviously had the plane and so on exploding, and that was cool, but for me I think the second one did it just a little bit better, where they had, like, you know, timbers of, you know, wood going through people on the highway, and I mean, the mass death, it was the proper sequel. It was more grisly, up the death quota, and yeah, it was gruesome.
Alright guys, 15-second rebuttal.
I will tip my own hat to you, sir. That is a good choice as well. Unfortunately, it just doesn't quite top having everything about horror thrown at you all at once in an extremely well-made fashion. Any part of horror you like, you're like, ooh, that's something. Ooh, that's something.
Let's hear it.
Alright, basically Joss Whedon, that was one of the best horror films I've seen in
He's
years.
arguing for me.
Exactly. However, what I'm going to say is that it was washed down with some laughs, the merman thing. That scene in Final Destination, there are no laughs there whatsoever, and in Final Destination 2, I should say, it was just, you're not smiling after that death happens, so.
Alright guys, well, Final Destination 2 is my favorite in the series as well. It's fantastic, but yeah, you really can't top Cabin in the Woods, sorry. What more could you ask for?
I was trying to go against the grain.
Yeah.
Cecil's right.
Alright guys, final round. Question 5. Best villain's weapon. Jaime.
So this isn't exactly what it looks like, however it is very similar in size. I choose the orb from Phantasm. And there's a reason for that, because the person who is basically put into this device that tosses out blades of all kinds that dismantle people, like I'm trying to dismantle this podium here, it's one of the most unique ideas that I've ever seen for a weapon in a horror movie. You've seen your lawn mowers and your, you know, chainsaws and your hacksaws and all kinds of things like that, machetes. But yeah, this is probably one of the most novel ideas. It's not red, but it's silver and destructive.
All right then, Cecil.
Easy. Freddy Claw. First off, it looks terrifying. Who wouldn't be scared with this coming at them in some way, shape, or form? It's practically effective. Killing or maiming someone is as easy as grabbing someone, so you can't beat that. I'd say another aspect is it's even scary sounding. Anytime you just want to freak someone out, just go onto some metal and do something like that, and you know, how could it not be the scariest and best villain's weapon when it's a slicer and dicer, and hey, it can even ginsu some vegetables.
All right, let's hear what you got.
Alright, quick rebuttal is basically going to be, there's a human brain inside of this thing, okay? And that is what is the, you know, sole purpose of the destruction. And in all honesty, as cool as that claw may be, this thing can get you from any distance. You don't have to be within proximity, Freddy. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, but I can get you in your dreams. The ball can get you it can get you from a distance, but not often. Usually it has to be right up on you to screw into your head and then funnel blood out the backside. So you do have to get kind of close, and like I said, the ball isn't going to follow you into bed at night.
It's really tough, you guys. I think the Freddy Claw has to get it. Sorry.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
Homemade fun devices.
Yeah.
Can't beat it.
Credit where it's due. I can't argue that.
So, the winner of our very first Great Horror Show debate, Cecil Laird.
Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations, sir. Greatly.
Great job, guys. Great job. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode of The Horror Show. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget to like, favorite, and share. You can follow us on Twitter at HorrorShow666. And check out our podcasts and send us emails at the link below. And we'll see you next time. Don't forget, guys, stay scared.